Stella. We're just hanging out, just doing our bonding, our regular daily bonding. And I thought I'd get on and talk to you guys about a question that was asked in the comments, which thank you guys for those of you who have asked questions in the comments. I love it, and I'm excited to get to all of those questions. So if I have not done a video answering one of your specific questions that you've asked in the comments, please feel free to comment again, or know that I probably have seen it. I just haven't had a chance to make a video on that yet. So somebody commented and asked if I could talk about my experience from when I very first got my sugar gliders and to now. How did I get them from being brand new to my home to where they are today in their level of trust and bond with me? So let's start at the very beginning. I did not know that sugar gliders existed until maybe 3.5 years ago. And I was on Facebook, and a Facebook friend of mine posted a picture. There was a contest. I live in a small town, and there was a contest that was talking about, there's a contest for cutest pet, basically. So you submitted a picture of your pet, and then people voted on it, and then you got your picture, your pet, featured in the newspaper if you got the most votes. So her picture was of her pet sugar glider, and it was this picture of this little sugar glider's face in this little ball pit. It was like, you know, all these like little fluff balls, and it was just poking its little head out, and it was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. And so I instantly messaged her and I said, "What is that? Oh my goodness." And so that was what started research. And so she answered a couple basic questions, and then soon realized that I had way more questions. And so she said, "Well, why don't I add you or suggest a couple Facebook groups for you to be a part of? And they're a really great resource, and then you can learn a lot." So I joined those groups and started researching, started trying to figure out, okay, am I going to be a good sugar glider owner? Is this going to actually fit in my life? One of my biggest concerns soon turned into, do they smell? I heard mixed things, and my husband and I are very, very sensitive to smell. We have, somebody said, I think the expression is, you have a nose like a Doberman. So my husband and I both have noses like Dobermans, my husband especially. So I was pretty concerned about that, because I thought, you know, I love these guys enough that I could handle a little bit of a smell. I didn't want my house to become a house where you walk in and you go, "Ooh, what pets do they have here?" I didn't want that. I want to be hospitable, and I want my house people to be comfortable here. I'm gonna try doing this. See how that goes. My arm's probably gonna fall asleep. Anyway, I wanted people to be comfortable in my home, and I didn't want my home to stink. I was okay with if, you know, like an area of the house smelled a little bit, I guess. But anyway, that was my biggest concern, is there gonna be a lot of smell? So the lady that had posted the picture, she lives in my town. And so I asked her, I was like, I know it sounds weird, but can I go over to your house? And can I, like, see if it smells? Isn't that weird to ask? Thankfully, she was cool with that. And she's like, "Oh yeah, totally, come look." And so my husband and I both went out there, and we were pleasantly surprised. It didn't really smell. I need to back up a little bit. The reason why we got pretty concerned about this smell is that we went somehow, I don't even remember how we got in touch with this guy, but there was a guy, and we live in a small town, and there's a bigger town that's like an hour or so away from us. And there was a guy in this bigger town that was a breeder, and he had sugar gliders. And so he said, "Hey, I'll meet you at the mall, and you can hold my sugar gliders, and you can meet them and see them." And I was like, "Oh, cool," because I'd never seen one in real life. And so we went down as a family and went and did that. And it was pretty cool. I mean, he had all standard colored sugar gliders. I didn't know that there was anything except for standard for a long time. And then they were pretty, he had two that my husband and I each held one. You know, they sat on our arm. We didn't like hold them. They sat on our arm and they didn't jump off or anything. And he had others in his little bonding pouches, and he said he didn't want to get those out because they weren't as socialized and they might jump and run away. And so we did that, and I walked away thinking, oh my gosh, those are so cute. Don't you think they're so cute? And my husband and both boys were like, yeah, but they're stinky. It's like, what? I didn't really think they were stinky. I think I was just so like in love with them that I couldn't think about the fact that they might stink. I don't know. So that's when I asked my friend that had sugar glider. We're just not like close friends, but like, you know, friends of friends. Anyway, so she was nice enough to let us go to her house, and we realized that it didn't stink. I think that one of the big reasons why this guy's sugar gliders, why they maybe did stink, is because he was a breeder, so he had intact males, and intact male sugar gliders are pretty stinky from what I've heard. And so intact meaning that they have not been neutered. Their scent glands are very active, and they're very into scent marking, and they have a pretty potent smell apparently. So anyway, we didn't end up going with him for getting a sugar glider from him because we realized that he did not breed with Lineage, which basically means, so sugar gliders have only been in the pet trade for since like the 1990s, early 1990s, I think. Don't quote me on that, something like that. And so if you have two sugar gliders that have babies, and even though they're not like brother and sister that you know of, they could be like cousins because the gene pool is not very wide. So they could easily be related without actually being related to your knowledge. So if you get two from a pet store and the people from the pet store say, hey, I have no idea if they're related, or I don't think they're related, don't breed them. Because when you breed sugar gliders that don't have lineage, where you don't know if they're related, there's a really good chance of a lot of different genetic issues, including blindness. They could have babies and they will eat their babies, because if there's a genetic issue and the mom senses it, oftentimes they will eat their young. It can be very traumatizing. So if you're actually interested in getting a glider for the first time, make sure that you go with a breeder that has lineage, and you ask them about that and they can show that to you. And also, if you're thinking about breeding, please don't breed unless you have lineage, because that's just sad. So anyway, that was kind of the research stage. A lot of Facebook groups, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of in-person talking to people. And then I ended up asking in one of the Facebook groups about who they recommended for a breeder to get them from. And I got all kinds of comments. And one that I just happened to research and really ended up really liking was Carolina sugar gliders. And they do not live in the same area as us, but when I got them, I know it's changed a little bit since then, but the rate for shipping sugar gliders in an airplane was actually really inexpensive. I think it's gone up since then, but so I ended up getting mine from them. I started off with two. I got two girls. The reason why I went with Carolina sugar gliders, and that was kind of the selling point, was I had a couple people that recommended them on the Facebook groups, saying that they, you know, were very well socialized and nice gliders. Nice. They weren't scared of people, really, and they were handled. And oh, and then I also really liked it because it's like a husband and wife team, and the wife is an exotic vet. So I really liked the idea that if I was having an issue, they're making a noise or doing something, I could send her a message and say, hey, is this normal? And kind of get some expertise there. So I really liked that. They were reasonably priced as well. So that was my kind of deciding factors for that. So when I got my two girls home, so keep in mind I had to go about an hour and a half to the airport because, like I said, I live in a rural town, and they didn't get into the airport until like 9 o'clock at night. So we went to go pick them up. by the time we got home, it was pretty well into the evening, and they had been awake and they were crabbing on the way home because, I mean, yeah, they'd had a long day. And so when I first got them, they were pretty cranky because I would be too. I am when I travel all day, but especially if I had no idea what was going on. And anyway, so we kind of like nervously unpacked them. I wish we recorded that because I'm sure it was hilarious. And put them in our little temporary cage that we had. That's another whole other story. I had this big cage ordered, and then that order fell through, and so I had to get a temporary cage on our way to go pick them up from the airport, and then my other cage came like a week later. But so anyway, we put them in this little temporary cage, and they yeah, see, my arm's falling asleep. I'm not as young as I used to be. Okay. So, and they were not happy. They were crabby and nervous, and you could tell they were just like, what is going on? I mean, they'd been taken away from like every thing that they ever knew, and had a traumatizing day of travel. They weren't very hungry. They didn't eat very much for a couple days. I just tried to leave them alone for the most part. I offered them treats through the bars of the cage and that kind of thing. And then my first thing that I did was just sit there, let them get used to your voice, let them get used to your smell, offer them treats, talk to them. And then after a couple days of that, then I was brave enough to like open up the bars of the cage and like pet one. My Stella Luna has always been pretty chill, and so she would sit there and let me pet her. That's this one, that one that was on me at the very beginning of the, she's like, it's so bright, don't make me get out. She was pretty chill, and so she just kind of sat on me or not sat on me, I'm sorry, sat in the cage, and I let me pet her. Where Natiri was jumping everywhere. She would not let me come close to her. So then the next stage was, okay, how do I get them in the bonding bag so that I can do bonding time with a zippered bonding pouch that I had gotten, which I later found out was not safe because it had exposed threads, which can get caught on their feet, and anyway, toes can get amputated. It's a whole thing. But that's another note. Not everything that is advertised as Sugar Glider Safe on Amazon or Etsy or the internet is actually Sugar Glider Safe. So I'll probably do another video about that. But I put them in there, and so what I would do is I would take their pouch out of the cage, all their sleeping pouches, and I would hang the bonding pouch in the cage, and then they would climb in that, and then once they would get kind of sleepy and settled, then I would take them out. Say hi, Buggy. Woman, being so nice. Yes. So nice boy. So then I would zip it up, and I would take them, wear them around, take them to work, that kind of thing. After I'd done that a little while, I realized it was a lot faster just to take them from their sleeping pouch and kind of pop them out and directly into the pouch and then try to zip it. Obviously wanted to be quick about it, but safe that their tails and everything are not in the way. So that was the next stage, just getting them in the bonding pouch, wearing them around. Once they would get sleepy in the pouch, not when they very first went in there and they were kind of on high alert, but when they've been in there for a while and they were sleepy, I would open it up slowly and stick my hand in there and just pet them really gently, just on the top of the head, kind of like this. And then if they kind of went like that, then I would kind of back off, and then I would do it again. It just very kind of baby steps. And then after I'd done that for a little bit and that was going well, then I would like they would be sleeping. So not how these guys are right now, not where they're alert, but they're bonded to me, so we're okay. But I would stick my hand in the pouch like this and just leave it in there while they were sleeping. And then after I had it in there for a little bit, I would kind of move my hand slowly and pet, and I would just leave my hand in there for a really long time. I brought them to the dentist one time with me while my kids were seeing the dentist, and one of them pooped on my hand while my hand was in the bonding bag. I had him like in my purse. I was being all sneaky, and I had my purse, and I had the bonding bag in my purse, and then I had my hand kind of discreetly in my purse, and I was petting while they were sleeping, and one of them pooped on my hand, and so then I had to like discreetly go use the bathroom and wash my hand. Anyway, so I was trying to do that as often as I possibly could, like any free time. I took them to the movies, which probably wasn't the best idea. I'm sure that was really loud for them. I don't know if I would recommend doing that. But anyway, every spare time that I had, I was trying to have them in the bonding bag, and I had my hand in there petting them as much as possible. Then I kind of got, and then we also started doing tent time around that same time. So I got a big mosquito net tent, and that you can get them off of Amazon. You just want to make sure it has a bottom to it. He is just so treat motivated. He's like, I'm being a boy, I have treats. So cute, I just love his little face. Anyway, so we would sit in the tent, and then they would climb all over. It's really kind of cool to watch them play in the tent, and then they jump on your head, and they're on your shoulder, and they're on your back. That was the first time I ever got really bit hard. I got too confident, and I was used to petting them while they were like on my front. As soon as I would start to pet them, they would run away, but I would pet them a little bit or pet their tail or whatever. Well, one of them went on my back, and so I went like this to like pet, and I'm sure it startled her, and so she latched on to my finger so hard, where your instinct is to like flick them off, but I'd been working so hard on bonding, I thought, oh my goodness, if I flick her off like that, it's gonna scare her and traumatize her, and it's gonna set us way back. So thankfully that popped into my head before the instinct to flick, and I just like, oh, 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 and eventually she let go. So don't do that. So anyway, we would do tent time a few times a week. And the trick with tent time is trying to get them to go back in the bonding bag. I mean, you just bring the bonding bag or the sleeping pouch in there and then pop them out, and then I would hide it so that they had to be out and exploring. You almost have to have somebody turn the lights on so it gets bright in the same area where you are, so that they'll want to go back in the bag when you're ready for them to be done. I always did a tent time bonding in the darkish, and then I would put the to have somebody turn the lights on for when I was ready to be done. So we did that quite a bit, couple times a week. And then I would do bathroom tub time, where I would just sit in the bathroom, and I would basically the same thing as tent time, except for they don't have anything to climb on. You're the only thing to climb on. So I kind of liked that better in some ways as far as bonding goes. And then I really wanted to be able to carry them around with me, not just in the bag. The bonding bag I liked, but it moves around a lot. And the ones that are safe, that are double fleece lined, are a little bit bulky. So like this, you can take it and like open it really wide and stick your hands in. It's just really like versatile. Whereas the bonding bags are, like this, and then it has a zipper. And so you can only really reach in here. Some of them are, they're all different. So I'm sure there's people that make them with wider openings. So if you're going to get one, I'd get one with a wider opening, and maybe so you can like fold it down. So anyway, so I would take that into the bathtub, and then they would climb on, but I really wanted them to be close to me. The bonding bag, when you wear it around your chest, it kind of moves around as you move. I really wanted them to be bra babies. I never thought I would want them to be bra babies. When I first heard that was a thing, I thought, it's kind of weird. I don't know if I ever want to do that. But then I realized like that was a really great way of bonding, and then they get used to your smell and get used to your voice, and they want to be with you, and they're marsupials. And anyway, I have a whole other video on that. So that's kind of where I got a little bit stalled out, and that's where I might leave it, because I have a whole other video on including bloopers from when I was trying to bra train before. And yeah, it's worth checking out. I think it's titled Learn From My Mistakes, Bra Bonding. And basically I have bloopers at the end after I talk to you about how I ended up successfully bra training. I have bloopers at the end about showing you how not easy it was for me. So Anyway, I hope that answers your questions about kind of how I got them up to this point. Honestly, like slow baby step process, and like keep trying new things. I had a couple times where I thought that they were more bonded to me than they really were. And so what would happen, I would pop them out to do like, you know, like now I could take Balky here out of the bag and he would not jump off of me. He's going to stay on me. He's going to want to go back to sleep. He'll either go down my shirt or in this bag. But he's not going to jump off. He's not going to jump off because I've trained him now to stay on me. I've had quite a few times where I had Stella Luna, who's the most chill one. I got too confident with her and I thought, whoop, don't fall. And I thought, I just trimmed his nails yesterday, so he's a little clumsy. I was holding her like this and she got startled and she jumped up to try to get on the top of the refrigerator. And thankfully, she missed and she plopped on the ground. And I scooped her up before she realized what was going on. But I mean, she could have gone under the refrigerator. She could have gone on top of the refrigerator. There were so many nooks and crannies in that kitchen that she could have hidden in, and it would have been so hard to get her out of. So thankfully that didn't happen. This guy, I was trying to do this kind of bonding with him, and he jumped off of me, and took me probably 45 minutes or an hour to get him out from under my couch. I ended up taking a pouch, a sleeping pouch, and I put treats kind of like leading up to it, and then so that he could go back in in the pouch. And then once he was in the pouch, then I obviously closed it. Oh my goodness, Balky, you are just so clumsy today. My goodness sake, are you okay? It's like, oh, that was scary, Mama. You're okay. So we're still working a little bit on him. This is a lot of progress in the last few months of him staying on me and not jumping off. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I hope you guys learned something from that. And I'm gonna see if he'll just, oh no, he doesn't want to, that's okay. So if you have any other questions or want me to do any other topical videos, please let me know. I have a whole list of things that I plan to do, and we will talk to you later. All right, bye-bye.